Ooh.
Welcome back, everyone, for another night of Stranded. Thanks for joining us. Before I turn it over to Keith, actually, one thing I want to shout out: join us for our game of the month with all of the OGL talk, and people keep bringing up Pathfinder. I decided I wanted to play some Pathfinder too, so we are doing Pathfinder as our game of the month, January 26th. Which is a Thursday. So, games of the month for 2023 are now going to be on Thursdays, the last Thursday of the month. That's a couple reasons. It helps me from not having a game or a week where I'm DMing three different games, which is exhausting, and kind of makes everything better around the board. So last Thursday of the month will always be our game of the month day. Uh, but I think that's the only thing I've got to shout out. So I'll shoot it over to Keith.
All right. Yeah. So the group is gonna kind of pick up inside the hangar area, right? They found this facility down in kind of the southern part of the continent after fighting their way and I guess sneaking their way past the spiders. And inside, they found this facility that was actually being run by droids. Um, they initially tried a little trickery to get through. It didn't work out, but they kind of noticed the droids kind of had a short memory, and their memory would kind of reset every a couple hours or so. And so eventually they did find their way in. They were able to get past the guards, and inside they found what looked like a large AI that was kind of pieced together and assembled from parts that was used to analyze and develop weaponry. And so the droids kind of pieced it together and built this AI. And unfortunately, the AI's memory was tweaked, which caused the droid's memory to be tweaked as they were linked. And so the droids had lived here for a long time, maintaining themselves and maintaining this base until the group came along and unfortunately smashed that AI. And so the droids also got turned off along with some of the defenses of the base that were all tied in with the AI and the droids that were maintaining it. But on the flip side, they do have a ship. And so there's a medium-sized ship inside the hangar. So I assume they'll want to go check that out. They can check out the rest of the facility. Um, and as a bonus, the facility was used for developing advanced weaponry. And the group received a prototype item of their choice. But it is reliable one. And kind of a recap on what reliable means in this world, everything is old, right? This equipment was built literally hundreds of years ago. It's been sealed, and so it hasn't necessarily received damage, but it's not also, it's been around for a minute, and some of the circuitry and some of the equipment might not always work as intended. And so when the group or when the character would use that item is kind of loosely defined. But when they use that item, they'll roll a d10. If they roll a 1, they'll roll a subsequent 100 or d100. If they roll low, bad things will happen. If they roll high, good things can happen. And so it's a little bit of unpredictability in the item. I think maybe lead to some interesting uh, encounters. But we'll see where they go with that and what items they choose. But from here, I'm going to throw it back over to the group and see what they want to do. So the AI is now destroyed. Most of the defenses around the base have now fallen. The droids have now turned off, and the shuttle is still in the hangar. So
Is
what do
the
people want
electric
to do?
fence still working?
It is not. But you do know that it was tied to the generator. And so you assume if you could get the generator back up and going, then you could probably fix the fence.
Davic will look around and go, we should scout the rest of the base and then see if we can get a comm signal. If you, Gus, or the droids can get
Agreed.
the generator back up and running, this could be a good spot for our crew to hang out while the that ritual or the event goes on where the worms burst out of the ground.
Is this a place where we could actually get most of our people? Like, could they get here?
If the ship's working, we can do it the easy way and just shuttle them over.
Well, that is a.
Do we think the facility is big enough? Like, if we look at all the buildings that we have here, do you think it's big enough to house the people that are at the ship as well as the people that are in town?
So you would kind of have an idea that if you were to clean it up, obviously there's some larger chambers that are just kind of filled. One is, for instance, one of them is a range. So you could put a lot of people in there. You might have to set up some tents outside, but assuming you had food, assuming you had water, assuming you kind of had built it in a way that you could probably sustain the population that came with you on the Genesis.
And if you do it right, it doesn't even have to stop being a range.
And we still have like, I think at least a month before the lunar eclipse happens and like the worms pop out, right?
17 days.
17 days. Okay.
Almost a month. Right?
Month of work days.
If you really want to round it. Well, I suppose
And
I could.
how many ship hold?
So yeah, if you kind of go in the ship, you would see that it's actually equipped to hold a decent amount of people. It's a medium-sized ship, but it's meant to hold 16 people for long-term travel. It could hold significantly more than that on a short-term flight, but long range, it's made to house 16 people. It has actually 2 barrack suites in it, so.
I suppose I could see if I could do anything about the generator. Maybe that can be amended, and we have a safer stronghold. And well, I'd like to take a look at the generator.
You guys want to search the buildings first?
I mean, I can go take a look around. Caspar drinks on the job.
Yeah.
Davik will look over and say, I will give you a hand with the repairs.
So I'm not rolling at disadvantage. Okay. Oh no, I'm not repairing. I'm just looking around. I'm garbage with electronics.
Yeah, so you would have already. So I think Tavik, I know you went through here. I forget who went with you. So you would have already been through these rooms. You'll notice the room. There's a room to the north. It houses what looks like is a bunch of extra scrap and pieces that the droids were using to help kind of repair themselves in the facility. So they had gathered it up from somewhere. But you can see that there's spare parts everywhere, some scrap everywhere. And it's organized well, but it's a large room kind of filled with that. About the same size as the hangar. So it's a significant size room. To the west, you actually see one is the firing range. You'll see the firing range off to the west, along with the other room that is where you found the prototype items. And it's just filled with just crates and crates of stuff. Most of those crates are no longer sealed, and whatever inside there is long been destroyed. But yeah, that's kind of the rest of the facility.
Okay.
So you mentioned there's robot spare parts. Do we think there's ship spare parts?
You can certainly take a look around and kind of see what you could, if you're looking for something specific.
Well, I'm looking just to keep in mind if we do go back, we have a huge starship that needs parts. That's why I'm kind of thinking like, if we can't get everyone here, then maybe we can get the ship fixed and bring whatever parts we can.
Yeah, so you think, kind of doing a quick gaze of the room, you think if it was something small, you might be able to find something to replace it, right? If it's something to do with circuitry or boards or power couplings or whatever. You could probably find something here. It's made for a much smaller ship, but maybe it'll work. But you would also know that a lot of the damage the Genesis suffered was structural to the ship, and the Genesis was a large ship. So you wouldn't find massive amounts of metal that would be required to kind of fabricate the pieces that you need to fix the Genesis.
Well, I suppose one of the bad things about having a functioning ship is if a group of people decide that they want to leave and care little for the rest of us, they can just do so.
You thinking of running, Gus?
No. I'm worried about somebody else running. But I mean, we could, if any of us knew how to pilot a. Actually, I'm not a bad pilot myself, but that's just idle talk.
So are you like firing up the ship when you say this, or are you not?
No. I do want to take.
Well, you're talking about Revelation and Retribution.
No,
R&R.
I'm fairly sure they wouldn't want to leave their museum behind. So at least we have that to assuage our worry.
Oh yes, we must keep the
Mhm.
museum. The museum
Yes.
is of paramount importance.
Of
If
course.
everything else shall fall, the museum will tell those that we were once here.
Through the filter of revelation and reclaimer. So
And they may be glad we're no longer here afterwards.
I didn't think they were a filter.
I mean, well, history is written by the victors or whoever's left, I guess, and well, but hey, that's neither here nor there. Let's see if this is a viable place to live, or survive, hold out, whatever nomenclature you'd prefer.
Great.
Let's find that generator.
Do you have a mechanics kit?
No, but I am
Okay. I've got the proficiency, but I never bought it. I just realized I've got it.
There might be one. There might be some kits in the spare parts room.
Well, I have a biochemist and a biotech's, arrangement of tools, but not really going to get very far with that here. Unless, of course, your arm needs any work.
It already fell off Walt's last battle. Could it get any worse?
It could have fallen off twice.
It has done that before.
It could fall off 3 times. You really are a glass half empty sort of individual, aren't you?
Well,
Comes by it honestly.
hard to look at the glass half full when you only have one working arm.
But you can have no working arms. You see, we can escalate this infinitely. Well,
I heard some people can live with only one working lung. So
I mean,
that could also you could be missing 2 completely separate things.
So thank the creator, maker, deity of choice for what you have left. And me for what you have.
He looks at his arm. You got the life, Dad. And I've got this Sparky Max.
Well, perhaps if we have some quiet time and, maybe I can take a closer look.
Perhaps if we are in need of a fire, we can use that sparky mess to ignite the kindling.
There you go. See? Have full.
We should all have an arm that can set things ablaze.
I think you have drank too much of the wine, Caspar.
This is my other glass.
Why did you? Never mind. So if I did want to determine the I guess viability of the generator, what would I need? What would Orgus need to do to make that happen?
Yeah, you could either do a mechanics check or a technology check. A technology check will be a little harder.
Harder it is.
Nice.
Nice, very nice. So yeah, so you go and you kind of look at the generator and you notice kind of 2 things. One, Revelation broke it last session, and so you have to fix what he broke, which seems relatively straightforward. It looks like that he kind of had left it intentionally, so it could be repaired. But the second part, and probably the trickier part, is that you notice that the controls of it are all centralized through the AI or that computer that you had destroyed. And so you have to kind of reroute that to make it manual. So you won't be able to control it through kind of a central program anymore. You'll have to kind of manually go to it to turn it on and off. But you can kind of override that by making that change. And so with a 23, that relatively straightforward for you to do it. It's just going to take a little bit of time to change kind of that programming and wiring config.
Okay. Well, then while everyone else is perusing the contents of the facility, Orgus will get to work. Maybe he'd like to sleep with, a little less worry. So.
Yeah, so you get it fired up and working, and so the fence kind of pops back on, and it looks like it's good to go.
Ooh.
Out of curiosity, is it at just that like time of night where we would need to crash? I'm just wondering if this is when we would logically be a good space to just have a long rest, because we need one. We just finished a boss fight.
Yeah, so it was kind of late afternoon, I think, when you guys tried this. So yeah, it would be getting, if you wanted to kind of call it for the night, you could probably do that. Or if you wanted to hang in there for an hour or two more, you could probably still do that. Theoretically, it's 8 o'clock at night, or something like that.
Okay. Well, in the facility itself, is there anything that can be repurposed, or maybe there's an existing one, some sort of a communications array or anything of that nature?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a investigation in that.
Ah.
Nice. You got the rolls
Hey,
today.
I do.
See-
They're all intelligent, so lucky me.
So you can tell the facility, it looks like, had some long range communications, and that was long ago scrapped. So you can actually kind of see where the communication relay would have been, and it's no longer there. So you can tell that that's one of the things the droids probably repurposed and used the parts for something else. But you do see that the ship itself has its communication, relay intact. So you could use the ship for communication. You think that, certainly would have decent range on it. You could reach to where the base is.
Well, I mean, I think we should phone back home unless anybody else has anything they'd like to take care of now.
Now it'd be good to see if the captain made it back.
Yes. Caspar, Fours?
Good.
Okay. Well, let's phone home as it is.
Caspar's probably already asleep. Like he took whatever the nicest quarters were and just crashed.
Just drag himself to sleep
just went straight out.
It's like, yeah, whatever. Call. Let me know how it goes.
You know where I am
All right,
if you need me. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Well, I guess Orgus will fire it up.
Yeah, so you kind of fire up at least the electronics on the ship, and you'll see that surprisingly everything turned on okay. Initial check, the ship seems to be okay. It has power. You are able to access the communication panel and get in touch with the kind of the home base there at the Genesis. And on the other end, so it's actually Security Officer Alavi that answers, and he'll just go, "Who is this?"
Oh, hi there, Alavi. It's Orgus. How are you?
You can tell actually there's like a little bit of a sigh of relief, and he goes, "Oh, Orgus, it's good to hear from you. We weren't sure what had happened to you. We had talked to Sergeant Savru, who is back en route. He said that you guys continued south. Were you able to find anything?"
Oh, we've had a doozy of a day or two. We found a bunch of droids, and we destroyed them. And we found a place that might serve as a nice, safe place to, ride out the coming eclipse. Have we shared that with them yet? Do they know about that whole eclipse thing? This is
David kind of
inside.
pops out from behind. I think we've shared that. Hello. It's kind of waits clearly eavesdropping before.
Yeah, and so Lavi goes, "Oh, that's great news. Maybe not the best news about the droids. Maybe those would have been very helpful. But hey, great news that you had found a location, and the captain is en route. He should be here tomorrow. The Soggy Bottom boys have, well, you know. But anyway, Sergeant Savru's with them. Feel fairly confident they'll make it back tomorrow, and I can talk to the captain about potentially this new location. You said that it's secure, and is there modes of transport for us to get there?
Well, yes, actually, if you want to tell us where the captain is, we can go pick him up.
He goes,
In
really?
the
You found a ship?
Yes, did I say so? I thought I did. Oh my goodness.
Taffy nods.
And so Lavi, you see his face kind of lights up, and he's like, "Oh, thank God, we can finally get off this planet." And he goes, "That
I would not. Well, you see, the ship itself is not very large. It's maybe 16, maybe a little over a dozen, give or take. So maybe for getting people here, it'll work fantastic. But to another planet, I would not recommend it. I don't like you all that much. I don't want to be that close to you. No offense."
He goes, "Well, it's still a step in the right direction. Maybe we can, if there's a ship here, then and certainly maybe there's a larger ship, and or maybe we can use it to repair the Genesis. Who knows?" He goes, "But that's fantastic news." And he goes, "Yeah, the captain, they are just south of here by the river. If you wanted to pick them up, we would love to have you guys back here. I think we're going into a lockdown. I think the spiders kind of really spooked the captain."
I see. Well, Tavik, 4, is anything that you can think of? Maybe.
We searched the other buildings before we decided to leave. Did we do that?
I thought we searched everything.
Yeah.
Does the ship have any sensors that we can use to kind of do a wider? And I'm thinking Star Trek, but you never know, Star Wars. Does the ship have sensors where it can actually search beyond a larger radius? What we can do for maybe life forms or I don't know what. But again, Forge is not technically advanced, but he knows the ship's got beepy things that might help.
Yeah, you would certainly be able to kind of fly around the planet if you wanted to try to get find kind of anything else around the area. It wouldn't necessarily be able to just kind of scan the planet and tell you if there's life. It doesn't really have that advanced of sensors on it. But you could certainly kind of get a visual pretty easily by just traveling, if that's what you wanted to do.
Okay. Well,
just keep in mind though, I think a majority of the group is still under exhaustion, so I'm not sure it'd be wise to fly the ship until we get a full night's rest.
Oh, but I'm fine. I can fly.
Oh, you're not exhausted? Because
No.
I know I missed my save, so this is going on like the third gaming session with that. So
Orgus is like, the typical, I'm an academic and sleep is a suggestion.
Okay.
It'd be best to pick up the captain before another spider grabs him. But security chief, when we bring the ship in, make sure to put some guards around it. with being trapped on this planet for so long, it wouldn't be surprising for someone to try to abscond with the ship. Even old Gus here thought about it for a moment or two.
No, like he's gonna just like, I don't know, like put his hand over the microphone, just glare at Tav and go, really?
I said you thought about it. You didn't do it. You told him.
Like, it was idle banter, a joke, a jest. Obviously, we're talking about it with you, so we have no intention of doing that, and unless we wanted to be really cruel and say goodbye as we left, which we're not going to do that.
Gaspar might.
Do you mind if we load a couple of the good droids that are down in here? Because I'm sure our science guy and or technology guy back at the base might find that intriguing.
Goodness, Izzy would have a
What
Izzy
is
would
a
have
good
field day.
droid? My goodness. My goodness, a good droid. They're all good droids. They're all bad droids. Goodness.
I feel like Izzy would have a field day here.
My.
I ain't gonna get him out there. He may be able to get the mainframe back working and get him hive-minded again.
Yes.
Yeah, you could certainly load the droids on the ship if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll throw a couple on there that we think are get to the 16 count, or you guys just want to throw a couple on there?
A
Good either way.
couple to get, keep Izzy happy.
And are there different droids, or are they all the same?
So there's a few different kinds of droids. There's actually 3 kinds. There's the battle droids, the typical, like, what are the B1?
B1, the goofy guys?
No, not the goofy Roger guys. The bigger guys, the B2s. So there's a bunch of the B2s. There's some of the sentry droids, the probe droids, and then there are 2 of the more elite guards. I don't know if those are salvageable. I think you pretty much roasted those, but those are the IG 100 series. So kind of the droids with the staffs, right? So those are in rough shape.
Grab one of the drones and then grab one of the other standard infantry droid and throw a couple of those on there, so we have a couple of each. And
yeah.
Okay. Well, I suppose we should probably make sure the captain is safe. Unless,
well, you, Orgus, you mentioned you need a mechanics kit. I'm assuming these robots have to have some kind of kit here to repair themselves. You think you'd be able to find one in the spare room?
I suppose it's worth looking around. Again, maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed. Yes. Well,
yeah. Go ahead and get. You already rolled an investigation, didn't you? Yeah, with a 20. Yeah, I'll give it to you. So you're able to find a mechanics kit in kind of the room with all the spare parts.
Yahoo! I can do things. All right. I just need to get proficiency with it. Wait, that's right. Is the Tavik your?
Yeah, Tavik's proficient. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Well, he might be a little bit more handy with the nuts and bolts part of the operation. So,
you also know there was a mechanics kit on the transport you took down here. I don't know if Arnar took it with him, but at one point he was using it for sure. So you do know there's a mechanics kit on your shuttle.
Maybe that's why I didn't buy one. It was all a plan. It was all...
Yeah.
I figured since they were doing a lot of repairs, there would be some kind of kits like that here. So, and they're no longer using them.
No, certainly not. Okay. Well,
is there space for our transport, like our little speeder in our ship?
No, it doesn't have like a cargo bay, so there wouldn't be room for it.
So before we leave Tav, we'll put it inside the electrified field, if possible.
Well, I thought we walked here from where the captain was at.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
We let the captain take our speeder because they were going to have issues if they had to walk back through the force of the spiders.
Mm-hmm. I suppose we will say goodnight. I would say let Izzy know of our findings. I'm sure he'll be jumping for joy when he finds out that there's all these spare parts for him to tinker around with. Well, goodbye, I guess.
Yeah, you guys loading up on the shuttle and heading out?
Yep, heading out towards the captain's last position.
Yeah. So you fire up the shuttle. All checks come back good. It actually looks like the droids have obviously kept us maintained, and it's pretty good shape. It's not necessarily made for combat. It has some decent defensive weaponry on it, but you'll tell it's not. It's certainly not a gunboat or a gunship of any kind. Used to primarily transport crew. Like I said, for the size of the ship, 16 capacity for a long flight is really nice. It also has a hyperdrive in it, so you would know that it would be capable of space travel. The only thing that you would notice, and this is kind of as you fire it up, it would be quite obvious, the navigation system has been wiped. And so you would be able to tell it was probably intentional. So you don't kind of have any navigational data of where the planet's at or where anything else is at or previous jumps that it had taken. But you do have the hyperdrive. It's a functioning ship, and it looks to be in pretty good shape. So you're kind of navigating by sense a little bit. Then again, it's not that hard to follow the trees until there's no more trees. Yeah, so you're kind of easily able to navigate through. You can find the captain's campsite, and certainly land if you want. He's about a day south of travel of the Genesis, kind of right on the river, where you guys had crossed the river there.
Okay.
Should we pull a Top Gun and like do a flyby right near the just kidding.
I mean, why not be grandiose,
No.
right?
Sorry, I'm still thinking that Revelation is here. So let's get serious now. Let's just go get him. No shenanigans.
Who will drive ludicrous speed?
Yeah.
Who will roll for ludicrous speed?
I think if we went over there ludicrously, we'd probably just be at the Genesis. So I guess I'll have Orgus will gently, carefully bring down the ship right next to the captain's camp.
All right, go ahead and give me a piloting check on that. What does this landing look like?
Anybody inspire him or anything? Oh wait, there's no barge.
So you're coming down. You're trying to get a little close to the camp, and maybe you're having second thoughts as you kind of come in. A gust of wind catches you. You scrape across the camp as you land. It looks like no one was injured, except maybe your pride and the captain's tent.
Well,
only ship on the planet, and day one we almost wreck it.
to be fair, I don't think the tents would do much to the ship. Just I mean, just throwing that out there.
Well, I guess you would know.
Well, let's go greet the captain. Hopefully, he'll be overcome with joy after having a pair of wings as opposed to my landing.
So as you kind of are getting ready to go off, you hear outside, even through the ship, you hear, "What the griff?" As the captain is like coming back. It looks like he was away, and he's like looking. You can just see him out there going, looking at the ship, looking at the tent, more confused on not even sure where the ship came from or why it wrecked his tent.
Good evening, Orgus says with like the biggest crap-eating grin he can muster.
And so the captain, who's always kind of had his stern face, he kind of cracks a little smile. He goes, "Orgus, this is the first time I can honestly say I'm happy to see you. Where did you get that ship at?"
Oh, Captain, we've had a doozy of a day or two. Well, we found some droids. We destroyed the droids. Well, most of them. Found their collective hive mind of a brain. Destroyed that too. But hey, we secured a structure of sorts with a shield. Isn't that fantastic? We can have everybody from the Genesis camp, make their way over there and ride out this spooky, scary eclipse. Hopefully. And anything? Am I missing anything, guys? Oh,
I fixed the shield before we left.
Yeah.
It's all good, sir.
Okay. Anything else?
It has been a good day for the hunt. We've got a new home, a new ship, but Captain, you will need to watch this ship.
Yes, it only seats little, 16 or so, give or take, and it's hyperdrive capable. So if somebody gets a little antsy about the coming darkness, they may decide to leave.
He goes, yes. We'll get a security detachment to watch it. He goes, I know just the guys. And he turns around and he goes, Sergeant, get the boys up here. And you'll see the Soggy Bottom boys run up. He goes, yes, Captain. And they go, he turns and he goes, boys, I got a job for you. Make sure this ship stays safe and no one takes it. We're headed back. And they'll all start to walk and get on the ship.
Okay. Something else. There's, if I remember correctly, were there other points of interest on the map that we've yet to stumble across? I think so, right? There's one further south.
Yeah, because I think this was the experimental lab down south from the spiders, but then there was something, I think, if I'm looking at the map, east, and it wasn't very close to us.
Yeah, so there was kind of 3 points of interest on the map. So the first one you guys found, that was off to the west. The second one you guys just found, that was off to the south. And then there was a third point of interest. And if you look at the map, and I'll just move you over to it so you can see it. It's over in kind of the mountain range, kind of the northern part of that mountain range on the east side.
Okay. Well, okay. Well, Captain, I know it might be a little premature considering we just found the ship and got that other place up and running and everything, but what can I say? I am insanely curious about the rest of this planet. I would suggest getting everybody safe and situated, moving over as many supplies as we can muster, and then perhaps letting, us, and maybe the Soggy Bottom boys, maybe somebody else, but I really want to go check out the other areas on this planet that might have even more ships or more technology or more things that can help keep us and our charges safe.
I agree. It looks like the Republic was doing something on this planet and left in a hurry. There may be other useful things we can procure.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Kind of nods. He goes, he's like, yeah, I cannot deny that your scouting has been beneficial to us. It has returned useful information, and now we have a working ship. He goes, but the primary concern has to be securing a site for the settlers.
Well, you'll notice the order in which I said things, listed them first.
He goes, yes, let's return to the Genesis. Let's get everything in order and prep a mission to see what this last location holds. He goes, but I am leery of losing the ship in this operation. And of course, personnel that would be on the ship. Because if we lose the ship, then this is a blessing to us. I'm not sure that we can risk. But let's discuss further.
I can't help but notice the order in which you listed those things.
I'd list the ship first, too, to be fair.
Well, okay. Well, we can figure out maybe a safer mode of approach, perhaps at a distance. Who knows? Maybe the other Republic facility still has defenses similar to the one we just encountered that are still in place. So, well, you're the captain. So, I'm just giddy with excitement.
Orgus, have you slept?
I have in the past, yes.
Yes. So, so he'll go, all right, everyone get on board. We'll come back for the gear. He looks at the tent. He goes, or we won't. And he goes, all right, whoever's flying this thing, let's get back.
You're still a pilot. I would not have guessed that. Good job, Gus.
Why, thank you. He'll crack his knuckles loud. Let me see if I can pull it off. Hey, gladly. And he'll run up to the controls with almost crackhead energy. Like that's where he's at right now. He's super like woo, and off we go.
Solid knuckle crack too for that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thank you.
And Forza's going to grab the armrest with all four hands with crack energy and hold on. Just because every time we get in the vehicle, something happens. So he's holding on.
Well, to be fair, we're not rolling a D4. So
Yeah.
maybe something under white knuckle grip will do for now.
Yeah.
Again, so the skies are pretty clear. At this point, it's kind of dark, but fairly easy to navigate. There's not a lot of light. And so you see structures with light, and that's got to be it, right? So you drive towards it or fly towards. So you're able to kind of make it back to where the Genesis is and where your camp is. And you can go ahead and kind of put the ship down if you want and go inside.
Okay. I guess Orgus will go rouse Caspar from his alcohol-fueled slumber and say, we're home. We're kind of home-ish.
Yes, that's why I went to sleep.
Yes. And good morning, evening to you as well.
I could use a tequila sunrise.
Nice.
Just something to help. Why is it so bright in here?
That's why I wear these. And he's going to point to those little sunglass goggles.
Well, you should share your goggles with him, Gus.
No.
No, please, I need them. I need your goggles.
He clearly has a hangover.
It's a matter of life and over.
Goodness. How about you know what? Maybe I think I have another set inside. Let's go in. He doesn't have another pair. Let's go inside and see if we can round one up for you.
I couldn't possibly. I haven't the strength to leave this space. I shall withdraw into myself in fear. You must push on without me.
Goodness, Caspar, he'll tuck you in.
We'll just tell the captain he's guarding the ship.
He's winded from the battle, is what it is. The battle of alcoholism.
Bucket next to where he's sleeping, just in case.
Sweet dreams.
Yeah. So when you guys land, the captain kind of tell he's relieved to be back. He's excited to have the ship, but his demeanor kind of changes a little bit, and kind of you can kind of see him. The wheels turning a little bit, and he goes, Goes Fours. I'm going to need
Yes,
you
sir.
to get your crew, get some sleep, get ready for morning, check in with security officer Alavi in the morning. And then he looks over at Sergeant Savaru and he goes, lock down the ship. No one's allowed on until we discuss this further. And then he kind of walks off and kind of goes inside.
I'll grab the a couple robots that we got, or help carry them out, and just tell everyone, hit the sack. We just put the bucket next to you. Expect to probably be there the whole night.
Papa, did I make you proud? He says underneath his breath. Papa, I tried so hard.
And Fours under his breath is like, "You were adopted." It kind of walks out.
I know. It's always been a sense of shame for us. I'm so glad we can finally talk about it.
Nothing like alcoholic sleep therapy. There it is.
Yeah, Tarek just really uncomfortably leaves the room.
Yeah. I'm not that kind of doctor. And just
That seemed like that was personal.
Yeah. Took a long time for him to identify. He only had 2 arms for the longest time. I don't know how he couldn't have figured it out.
maybe. Well, nice. I guess Orgus will get to bed after he tries to procure a slicer's kit, because who knows if that'll be handy.
Oh.
Snagged the proficiency, just didn't bother getting the tool. How much is he able to buy one or get one before he?
Probably not tonight. You could maybe go into town in the morning if you wanted to.
Okay. God, they're expensive. Okay.
I've got extra credits if you need them too.
Much appreciated. I haven't even considering the game we're playing, I haven't really looked at my credits too much. I'm 40 short, so jeez.
Outside of the triple double gear that I bought in the beginning, but
Right.
the
camping kit for 20, you mean?
It holds 6. I mean, if I could pick up 20, yes, I would have. But
in case we come across like wanderers on the road, come sit by the fire.
yes, it's not proper glamping unless you have the proper.
I suppose it's bedtime unless anybody else is up to some sort of anything.
Clock for 0500 and get ready, and then wake you all up if you're not up.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead and you can take a long rest. So finally remove that exhaustion that you guys have been carrying around for a while. And then in the morning, as you kind of you get up, and Sephoris is up way too early. But as kind of everyone gets up and around and you get in, so you'll kind of wander into Security Officer Alavi's office. And you can tell he kind of looks maybe a little bit uncomfortable. And he kind of starts off and he goes, "Oh, it's really nice to have you folks back. I'm really glad you made it. Great work. You brought the captain home. You brought a ship home. We're eternally grateful for everything that you have done for this crew."
Sir, that sounded very positive, but your voice leads something a little less to be desired. Do you have something else to tell us?
Yeah, the captain's ordered that no one's allowed on the ship. He wants to explore our options a little further. He's worried someone might try something rash. I think the spiders spooked him a little. I don't know if he's up for trying to move everyone or not. I know that you had said that potentially there was a safe place that we could travel. Would it hold all of the villagers, the settlers?
We'd have to do a bit of work, but if they cleared it out for us, we could fit them in there behind the walls.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're in a tight timeline. Is these I think I got his name wrong here. Because Zazie.
My bad. I thought it was Izzy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, is he right? He goes, Ozzy, he's up in arms. He says in 16 days this eclipse is gonna happen. He seems pretty worried. He said, I went and talked to the mayor of the settlement. He says they need 10 days before they can harvest the crops. He goes, and they're not going to leave without it. He said this timeline is getting tight.
Well, that still leaves us with 6 days. Yeah, 6 days to get everyone over. I mean, granted, I'm not a logistics professional. That's not my but we can move all not essential equipment over there now ahead of time, and then at the end of it, we can just move personnel, right? Yes, possibly. I mean, I understand the captain's hesitation, but with the limited time that we have, hesitation is not the way forward. We need to move. We need to be act. We need to do things as opposed to thinking about doing things.
So between the Republic being gone and seeming like they left in a hurry and the murals we saw, I don't think many of these soft beings will survive if the apocalypse comes.
No.
Yes, I agree with you. I think time is of the essence. I agree. We should start transporting people now. But first, maybe the captain will want to scout this site himself. Maybe that'll put his mind at rest a little.
Well, that's perfect. Okay, let's go ahead and get the captain and let's hit the not road, but sky. Yes, let's hit the sky.
I've always wanted to hit the sky. The captain owes us a life debt, so he should listen.
He goes, yeah. He says, well, I tell you what, I think we'll leave that up to the captain. And he says, for now, I think maybe we need you here prepping the evacuation of the site. And mechanically, you guys will have 10 days to kind of do what you want or what you think would be helpful, either at the Genesis or at the settlement site, to kind of prep and get everyone going, or if there's anything else that you wanted to do during that downtime.
I mean, there's the other site. I mean, that's something else we wanted to kind of investigate. No, yes, guys.
Yes,
right?
we should go to that place.
But with that marshy, acidic thing between this landmass and the other, that would make things difficult.
Yeah, I'm not sure the timing. We'd have enough time to do that.
Well, at least not on
We have a
foot.
ship.
Oh, yeah, I don't think the captain's. Maybe we could sweet talk him.
We could try, yeah.
Well, those that have a very good persuasion, I can get you in because Captain always listens to me. But you guys got to do the sweet talking.
My
always
talking
sweet.
is not so sweet. Yeah, well, there you go, gas bar.
Regularly.
Oh, that sounds dreadful.
It's called a sugar bath.
Oh,
And you leap into the sea. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I mean, mechanically speaking, are any of us good at talking?
Oh, Tavic's
Yes.
terrible at it.
Yes, I do have ranks in it. That was the
I've
one
got a
thing I knew
whopping
no one here could do it. So I
I've
actually
got
took ranks.
I've got a whopping 4 bonus to persuasion. So
Oh, you're not too bad at it. You're not
I mean,
negative.
yeah, and thankfully, yes. So worst comes to worst, Orgus can lend a hand, but I was hoping that somebody would be better suited for the task of convincing El Capitan. Gaspar?
Usually negotiate them because
Fair
his
enough.
charisma is his dump stat.
Would we be able to estimate how long it would take once the 10 days are up for the harvest to move the people over to the facility?
Yeah, you know it's pretty straightforward. You could probably maybe a day or two. Assuming you
along with
assuming you move the people that weren't needed in the harvest initially.
Maybe we could convince the captain if we speed up their harvest and some of their efforts that we can borrow the ship afterwards because the people will already be safe.
Yes,
we would like that idea.
It'll
That'd
give
be
us a few
good.
days, and people will be, able to ride out the eclipse. How long is it for again? I
don't think we know. Do we know?
No, I think the estimate was about 48 hours.
Okay.
Oh,
I thought it was more like a full month or something.
Yeah, just darkness.
2 bad days.
Yeah, 2 bad days. 2 doozies of days. Well, okay.
Let's speed up then. Let's help the people speed their hunting and gathering up, and then quickly move them, and then see whatever rest of the time we have left to convince the captain to take a trip.
We can talk to the captain first. See.
Yeah, you guys want to talk to the captain?
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so you can see the captain's kind of in his office, partially still recovering from his journey. You can tell that he's not quite himself yet. You kind of walk in. He kind of sees you guys and he goes, yes, come on in. Did you talk to Olavi?
Yes, we did. And it was a good conversation.
And he goes, okay, good. Then you know my orders. And he just kind of goes back to what he's doing.
Captain,
excuse me.
Captain, I must say you're not looking well. When was the last time you've seen the doctor?
I'm looking at him right now.
Doctor, he doesn't look well to you, does he?
No, well, I'm sure the events the past few days are harrowing, but with time, right?
And you don't think he might have spider fever, do you?
Spider fever. Oh, well,
Okay. Forge is like, okay, Captain, we got to cut the shit. Here's what we want to do, and I'm not trying to be insubordinate, but here's the idea: we're gonna help the people harvest as fast as we can. As he kind of always unconsciously flexes when he's like, I can use strength. Okay, help the people as fast as we can, get them shipped over with their goods, and then hopefully, if we do this fast enough and organized enough, if we have enough time. Will you allow us to use the ship to go check out one of the sites if we have spare time to do it? And I just kind of like goes back at ease, and that was way too much bullshit for us to take.
So that's
to get it out. No.
So that's a disadvantage on my deception check, then, is it? Because that's what I was trying to do.
Well, Forrest kind of just cut you off when he kind of was like, "Okay, this is just wrong."
So that's why my roll was a 9. Great. If you'd helped, I might have gotten the 20. We might have gotten the ship.
Yeah, so he's just kind of looking around the room. You guys are talking about jungle fever. Orgus is trying to talk to you about medical procedures. He's looking over and seeing the one-arm guy. And then he's just like, okay, enough. He goes, the first priority is to get all the settlers safe. We'll scout the site. If the site is secure, we will use the ship to transport all the settlers. Assuming that the mayor signs off, he seems to think that nature will take its course and they'll all die. I don't know. Whatever he wants to do. He goes, then after the settlers are secure, if you take the ship, how would you propose we get the settlers back here?
Well, of course, we'd come back. We'd scout the area out, and if you wanted to, you could put the SB boys on there, and they can bring the ship back after dropping us off or keeping it waiting in the air.
He goes, yes. He goes, yeah, I fear there's a little bit of temptation around this ship. It's the only working hyperdrive on the planet. and the priority has to be restoring the Genesis. The ship is not just for... it's not just our way to scout the planet. It's our way to get the Genesis off the planet. He says, I cannot risk that.
Well, have you told everyone that the hyperdrive is working?
He goes, no. Just talked to Zazie this morning. It seems that the only thing we need is the navigational equipment, or the navigational charts, which we have, and we could probably get the ship in space flight. And he says, but the Genesis comes first.
Well, Captain, I'm not exactly a shipbuilder or a ship repairer or a nothing but a ship's doctor, really. But the Genesis has significant damage that a structural sort of way. And the facility, while it's more equipped for droids, there's nothing in this that would really allow us to repair it there. So as it stands, we can get 16 people off this planet and leave the rest of them to fester and, whatever comes after the eclipse. Or perhaps the other facility might have another ship there, or the materials needed, or something else entirely that could help the Genesis, well, with this exodus.
He nods. Just
Captain,
goes,
the longer you wait, the more likely it is somebody's to steal the ship and run. Especially if they get trapped out there in the 48 hours of darkness. Someone will crack, someone will shoot, and someone will steal the ship. And either you'll be dead or we'll be dead.
Yes. Or, I mean, who knows? A mass revolt, and maybe nobody gets the ship, but we have dozens of dead or dying civilians that were just scared.
yeah, go ahead and give me a persuasion check.
Oh, okie dokie.
Do we have any inspo?
Yes, I don't think you've used any, so I think you have max 5. So
I say go for it.
Burn it. Let's see where it gets us. You've got to be freaking kidding me, man. Damn, another one?
So he kind of thinks that over, and he goes, I'm confident in our security that we can lock down the ship. Any settlers silly enough to attempt it, well, they'll deal with the consequences. He goes, but as a safeguard, I have instructed Zazie to remove the hyperdrive. We will keep it in our safekeepings, and that will prevent any potential attempt to use the ship and abandon the rest of us.
A prudent measure. However, I must still stress the importance of an end game of after the eclipse. We all want. I don't want to die on this planet.
Yes, we have a path forward. The mines are operational. We will gather the materials and we will fabricate the parts. It will take time, but the Genesis is our home, and we will not abandon our home.
I wasn't suggesting leaving the Genesis. Again, the mines are operational, yes, but who knows when there'll be another eclipse, or maybe you find something worse than the spiders in the mines. I just want to explore all of our avenues. Perhaps we don't have to mine the materials. Perhaps they're just lying in wait in a warehouse on the other continent.
Yes, after the settlers are secure, after the eclipse, after we're resettled, you and your crew can use the ship to scout the last site.
Not his normal, can't say jovial, not like he ever was, but at least more authoritative self outside of manic depressive captain. I rolled like crap, but
Yeah, you can tell he's probably a little bit off, but you don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with him, other than
Okay,
he's had
so
a long couple of days.
so at this point, Force is like, okay, let's go help the people with the moving to the new site. Order is an order.
Well, Captain, you do want to check that site out to make sure it's secure, correct?
He goes, yes, I've already instructed a crew to do that.
Okay. Well, do you need us to show them where, or I mean, do you need anything further from us, or should we just kind of do what we can here?
He goes, no, the navigational log would have tracked your previous travel. We'll find it. He goes, but yes, do what you can here. Help the settlers. Maybe talk to the mayor. Whatever you can do to assist and secure our transport.
Will you be having Zazie join that crew? Because he should really take a look at that facility.
I'll consider it.
Yes, because, I mean, granted, I'm sure you're sending a bunch of hardened military men to take a good look at what's there, but a keen technical eye is going to be invaluable in a situation like that. I mean, my prowess is in the biological, while Zazie's is the technological. I did what I could, but he is much better at that than I am.
Captain nods. He goes, yes. Zazie is a very important asset. I don't know if he has the time, but I will consider it.
Splendid. Unless somebody else has some sort of anything to bring up, please.
Well, thank you at least for listening to us, Captain. Just get some rest and see if you can reconsider after we get the harvest in.
Yes. And if you feel like you're not getting better soon, please don't hesitate to reach out. I am more than happy to offer my services.
It was much appreciated on the offer, but I'm okay. And he kind of just waves you and says, dismissed.
Thank you. Thank you, Captain. Well, I guess we'll walk out, yes?
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Well,
Forrest salutes on his way out and heads out.
well, that was a bust.
Let's try and talk away from the captain's quarters just in case he's got good ears.
Davik nods and says, I kind of wish we didn't tell him about the ship. He's kind of taken ownership of it.
Yes. I mean, we found the damn thing.
And saved his life. Where is the life debt?
Yes, right.
I've had to follow you around for years, and he can't even give us a ship for a day.
Granted, he's the captain of the Genesis. I'm the captain of the... Well, I haven't even named the damn thing.
So not that Dwarf wants to think deviously. He does think there's something up, but like I'm assuming the captain has logs somewhere that is discussing his thoughts. Any chance you guys can read those or get access to those? Because I think there's something up with the captain. He that ain't right. Yeah. I'm gonna go against his orders, but I still think there's something up.
I'm not too sure. Would I be able to peruse such thoughts? He wondered aloud. Inside.
So
Did the game mess
If
up?
only we'd been attempting a medicine check very recently on the captain. I wonder if anyone was trying to do that.
Yeah, so you'll say that they probably do keep some type of logs, but those are probably either on his person or in his office, and you'd have to take physical possession of the logs to be able to read them.
So at gunpoint it is. I'm kidding. Damn. Well,
Good try.
Yeah, well.
Well, we could go see the crew that's going off. Maybe they didn't leave yet. Maybe we can ask them if they want some help going along. I mean, we're just asking like helpful hand kind of thing, you know.
I think it'll take a couple weeks to get out there, though, won't it? Or a week or so.
No, I'm talking about like the guys that took the ship that they may not have left yet, because I think what he told them is that there was another crew that was going to take the ship and go scout the new site just to make sure.
Oh, I thought they were walking. I don't think he wanted the ship to go anywhere. Or taking land speeders.
He did mention the navigation log, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, he would have told you that, or hinted at they're going to take the ships down there,
Oh,
or the ship down there to see the site.
Well, I guess we have 10 days to
Well, he did say go talk to the mayor, so we go talk to the mayor, help out the post harvesting, and go from there. If we can't somehow finagle ourselves on the ship if they didn't leave already.
I've always heard it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. We get a ride on the ship, drop them off. Maybe we make a stop at the spot, and then bring the ship back nice and sound. And hopefully with a little bit of extra baubles and things to appease the captain. Can't argue with results.
No. Well, I suppose it's worth a shot.
Can we see if the ship left yet?
Yeah, you'd be able to tell the ship is still there.
Oh.
Yeah. And so just kind of a recap, because we don't do a lot of the RP sessions, so kind of the important players in the area, right? So you've got the Soggy Bottom Boys, and Telly, Ezzy, Jack, and Nath. Sergeant Savru, who is kind of in charge of the Soggy Bottom Boys, I guess, if you would say. They're kind of under his command. The captain, Devin Thane, security officer, Jakali Alavi, which we talked to, chief officer, Zazie Mir, and then the mayor is Adol Citra, and then the kind of I guess special assistant, I think is what we called him, is Silzo, who is kind of known to be very close to the captain. So.
We could check in with do we know how long it's going to be till the crew takes off?
Yeah, you could go down there. You can see that actually it's Sergeant Savru down there. Him and the Soggy Bottom Boys are been tasked with it. Kind of see Zazie there too. He's kind of over fiddling with it. So as you kind of approach, the sergeant will stop you. And he goes, "Sorry, boys, strict orders. I can't let you near the ship, but rest assured, we're going to be leaving within the hour, and we'll scout the site."
We can't get on the ship. Well, I don't mean to be rude, but I have a certain urgency.
I'll be right back.
I could board for just a moment. Do you catch my meaning?
That urgency.
Certain
Okay.
little boys' room might be in order. Is there perhaps a facility on the ship? Is the
Points at the tree
plumbing
line.
working? No. I couldn't possibly. You know how many lethal spiders are in the tree line? My goodness, no. There's a reason this is so valuable. It's because it's not death. You can't. That's death over there. He starts kind of like crossing his legs a little bit. Really, I need to. Could you please?
Yeah, go ahead and give me a deception here on this one.
Why would it be deception? What's to imply that I'm lying?
And so he's like, you just can't use the tree line. Fine, just fast. Don't get me in trouble here.
Okay.
There's something up with the captain as it is. I don't want to make him mad.
You saw that too.
I promise, absolutely, I will not abuse the kindness of which you have offered me. I promise. And on his way through, he does a perception check to see what opportunities there may be to abuse the kindness offered to him. Take advantage of the situation to get the ship.
Yeah, I guess you kind of see that no one's on the ship. I guess if you wanted, you could take it. Yeah, but outside of that, I'm not sure. You already know anything that's on the ship you would have known about. There isn't really,
Okay.
yeah. Maybe a bottle of wine if you wanted that was left
No,
behind.
no. I'll just kind of peruse through and then leave again. Call it an information hunt.
Yeah. So, all right. So he comes back down. And he goes, "Good. Just don't tell anyone. It's fine. It's
Oh,
embarrassing
no,
for everyone
of course
involved."
not. I would never abuse your kindness and friendship. It means too much to me.
Sergeant, you mentioned
How's
the
your
captain seemed-
wife?
Is my wife.
Yeah, is she well?
And he kind of looks real
He's
serious
just
for
making
a minute.
awkward small talk.
Oh,
He
because that
like
was
looks
more
real
like-
serious.
Yeah.
He's like, "You know what happened to my wife? She was killed by the Duongwin 2 years ago."
Oh. Honestly, that conversation has gone much worse for me. There was one time where I had sex with the man's wife, and I'd honestly forgotten about it entirely, and it did not go well. Moving on.
Kavik is just standing there, slack-jawed, just staring at Caspar. He'll go, "Haven't had your wine yet today, have you?
No, not yet.
Drink up, buddy."
Still hitting the bottle, I see.
I think I'd like to hit him with the bottle. So Force is like, "You sure you don't need our help? Because we've been to the area. We know what we've encountered. We've pretty much got a layout of the land.
And we know what's been done to the place.
And like you said, the captain's not in his right mind. He's scared and he's not thinking clearly.
I mean, the best crew to go would be the ones that already been there."
He sighs. He goes, "I agree. He says, "Look at Zazie back there. He's ecstatic about those droids you found, but the captain doesn't trust anyone. And I follow the captain's orders."
We brought him the ship. We brought him back to his home on the Genesis, and
Did
still
we?
he distrusts. Well, yes.
No. I mean, is the captain the captain? He spent some time with the Queen. Are we sure he hasn't been injected with some form of larva that might consume him?
I think we checked for that in a previous episode, just because I thought the same
You
thing.
You did. And so the sergeant goes,
Perhaps we missed it.
He hasn't been himself. He's no, that captain has not been hijacked. It's just, he's just not the same since the attack in the forest.
No,
Give him a few days. He'll be fine.
Well, Sergeant, you can follow orders. But we can also kind of work with you. You take your team out, scout the base, and we'll just borrow the ship while you're scouting the base and scout another base. If we bring another ship home or bring resources to fix the Corvette, he can't complain.
Because, actually, maybe the captain's fine, and he has reason not to trust you. He kind of looks at it. He goes, "So you're going to come with us so you can then steal the ship?"
Okay, well, how about we do it this way? How about you drop us off at the site you want to look at, and we'll find our own way back.
And if it would make you feel better, we can say that we snuck aboard, beat you and the Soggy Bottom boys up, took the ship, and we're the assholes, and you're fine.
They're the assholes. I'm a nice guy. Just saying.
We tied up Forrest too before we did all this.
No, that's a lie. No.
Okay, I drugged Force.
Okay. That's
But again, I have to challenge the intelligence of the move that the captain's making here. Again, if we wanted to just go, we could have simply loaded up, bid you all a good luck, and gone off into the heavens, and never had to look back. But here we are, and here's a ship, and here you are telling us we can't get back on it. If we had intentions to do anything nefarious, anything evil, that would have happened yesterday.
He goes, but yesterday you didn't have any navigation charts. He says, I may not be a pilot, but I do understand that.
Yes, but Zazie is removing the hyperdrive, right? Captain made us aware of this. We're not going to have an uh-oh moment where we're forced to stay here. We're well aware of what's going on. We are doing this for the betterment of all. Putting ourselves at great risk, dancing into the unknown. For you and everyone else. And ourselves, of course, but...
He nods and he goes, says, to be honest, I agree with you. He goes, but orders are orders. He says, let us check out the site. If it's secure, let us get the settlers down there. And then we can use the ship to discover whatever else in this planet we may find. He goes, but I have to agree with the captain in that the settlers have to be the priority. The security of the settlers have to be the priority. We cannot just let them die to slaughter.
No, of course not. And we can either do that by holding up in a safe location or leaving. Well, again,
Sergeant, if you won't let us sneak aboard the ship, we can see what we can do to speed up the harvest and all of this. And maybe once you get back, we can talk some sense into the captain together.
Give me another persuasion.
Oof, that's gonna be bad.
Can Orgus lend a hand in this? I didn't see
Yeah.
the three. I didn't see the three. I didn't see the three
Could
before
roll
I
again.
said that.
You got 4 more.
I'll give you advantage on that. Go ahead and roll one more.
Oh, that's not too bad. That's
Okay.
Hell of a lot better than a 3.
Kind of nods. He goes, I tell you what. Clear it by Alavi. And then we'll come aboard.
I suppose we have to talk to Alavi.
All right. Got a little crew going. Is Zazie there too right now? Or is he? I know he's geeking out about the droids.
Yeah, Zazi's there.
Because he, the sergeant, and Alavi are like the 3 highest ranking people outside of the captain, right?
Yeah.
Could try the old-fashioned way of you're no longer captain of the ship.
Well, is there a medical officer that the ship has besides our doctor, of course? But is there a medical officer that could typically identify if the captain has an issue that he's no longer fit for duty? You know,
Orgus, isn't your backstory they brought you on to be the ship physician?
Yes.
Yeah, so that would be Orgus.
Yeah.
So, not that I would ever want to do that, but if he is continuing to show signs of deterioration, then that is a potential option.
I'm diagnosing the captain with a case of wussy boy.
Quite
Right.
fatal for what I've seen.
Okay, so who's the next person that we have to go see or talk to?
Alavi.
Lavi.
Lavi or Zazie. I'm just
Zazie.
looking at the time, and we've been at about an hour and a half, so maybe we'll just take a 5-minute break.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. We'll see you back at 8:43.
All right.
Welcome back, everyone, for part 2 of Stranded. Before I turn it over to Keith, just one more shout out to join us for our Pathfinder game on January 26th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be giving away a copy of the PDF for the Pathfinder system. Great way, especially with all the crazes going on right now with 5e and D&D. If you're looking for an alternative system, it could be a fun way to learn a new one and get a chance to bring it back to you and your crew. Last thing I'll promote, and I don't know what day that we're doing this. We're thinking about doing another run on the what is it called? The MCDM challenge. I'm blanking on the name. Furious Road. So stay tuned. It'll be a Wednesday sometime over the next month. We're number 5 on the list right now. But the crew is talking about doing another kind of run to keep our spot a little bit higher on that leaderboard. So stay tuned for that. But I'll switch it over back to Keith.
All right. So we'll get back into it. So the kind of just finished talking to Sergeant Savru, and he kind of had hinted that clear it with a lobby, and that maybe he would let you kind of come on aboard. So what's the group kind of going to go and do next?
I think go talk to Alavi. Maybe if you want to try to get everybody on board, try to get Zazie first, but definitely got to get a united decision between the officers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Zazie's kind of nearby, so you know he's kind of working on the ship. He's kind of outside of it right now, kind of poking at the droids. So yeah, you guys going to go over and kind of have a conversation with them?
That's
So
right.
he kind of, yeah, so he sees you coming, and he kind of stops and looks up. He goes, "These droids are amazing." He says, "Where did you find these? These I can repurpose these, and yes, I can get them back online. This is absolutely amazing."
Of course. We wanted you to go towards the facility. We found them. There was a mainframe that you could get all these droids up and running if someone like you could fix it. But we heard the captain said you can't go.
Yes. I asked to go. I'm quite curious of this site. He goes, but the captain has other priorities that I need to address.
Do you think they're valid priorities?
Kind of see, even without an insight, you could see that he starts to look a little uncomfortable. And he goes, the captain thinks they are.
Well, I mean, personally, Zazie, if a pair of eyes should look at this facility amongst a lot of the Genesis crew, I think it should be yours. There was much to see and tinker with there, and well, your dexterous little fingers would know better than anybody else what to do and how to do it. Frankly, with the time that we have available to us before the big scary eclipse comes along, the more your hands can do there, the better, I think.
He nods and goes, "Yes, I am the only competent person on the crew that could do this."
Wow. I was just going to take that.
He kind of sounds like Orgus.
Hey, you gotta know what you're good at. I don't fault you for it. To be fair, Zazie, I did repair the generator, so I did something. But maybe you could fix it better. You are quite good at what you do.
And you might be
Why
able
don't you
to
take a
fix
look at
it
this
and
guy's arm while you're at it.
Yes, I did what I could. Again, my expertise is with the organic. Yours is with the other.
And Zazie, I don't know if you heard, but if we got this up and working, you'd have a working shield for the base. We actually had to shut it down in order to take the robots out, but I'm quite sure, you could enable that with ease.
We got the shield back up.
Yeah.
I did.
Shh. We gotta give him a big head. Be quiet.
I mean,
well, Zazie, if not the shield, I'm sure you could get the droids back up patrolling. Which, if it's as the Republic and the walls predicted, having droids patrolling and protecting our people may be the safest way to ride this out.
and so many probe droids, like sets of eyes that we can have out there without putting any organics in harm's way. Oof, what a boon that would be.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a persuasion. Anyone can roll it.
I'll let Gus take this one.
Unless our charismatic wine
Caspar.
drinker wants to throw his hat in the ring.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Good. Let's get this show on the road.
A swapping 14. I like that.
Yeah, he nods. He goes. He says, "Yes, I think I would probably be the best person for the job for sure." He goes, but we're, I cannot confront the captain. He goes, he has ordered me to disassemble the hyperdrive. Yes, that has to be the priority.
Oh, we've got that. That's not a problem.
I mean, couldn't you even
That's
do
not
that?
hard at all.
You could do that en route to the place, couldn't you?
Do you have any idea how many hyperdrives I've disabled? So many. This gun right here does ×2 damage against structures. A hyperdrive ain't gonna last long.
And you
that
kind of
was a
see,
joke, Sassy. That was.
you kind of see that Zazie understands that, and he just shakes his head, and he goes, "You and Captain, you seem to have the same philosophy. I don't understand. We have a working hyperdrive. Why would we purposely destroy it?"
Well,
Hold on. Did the captain tell you to destroy the hyperdrive?
No. We're just disabling the hyperdrive so no one steals the ship. Yes.
so temporarily disabling it, right?
Go ahead and give me an insight.
Tavik will take that unless anybody minds.
Please do it.
Yeah, and you can have advantage with it too. So
Sweet.
yeah, you can tell that he is not being straightforward with you.
Tavik kind of leans forward, his scales flex. They open the snout and he goes, "You are lying, little one. Did the captain tell you to destroy the hyperdrive? You must tell us now before we are doomed."
Quick insertion there. Before he rolls that intimidate check, I want to cast the effect mind spell as a cantrip to make this guy roll at disadvantage against the intimidate check.
Does that affect anyone who's doing it, or just for you? I actually don't know the spell.
Target makes a saving throw. On a failed save, the next charisma check made against the target is made at advantage.
Oh, nice. Okay, yeah. Go ahead and what's the check on that?
I'm just double checking right now. It's just a cantrip.
There's still a DC on that, though, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
passing DC. So you're
14, I believe.
All right, you said charisma save on that?
Yeah.
All right, Zazie is not very charismatic, so let's roll a straight d20. So he fails. All right, yeah, so go ahead and give me an intimidation with advantage.
he will need it with this -1.
What?
What? 15 is not too bad.
Yeah, so 15. So Zazie starts to kind of look very uncomfortable with this kind of Tavik hovering over him. And he goes, I don't know what's wrong with the captain. Yes. He said he said you can't just move the hyperdrive into the Genesis. That doesn't make any sense. The chances are that once we remove this, that we'll never get it to function again.
So Havoc at this point is gonna because we're not too far from the sergeant, so he's gonna yell at the sergeant, "Sergeant, you must hear this. Come, bring the SBs too."
And so the sergeant will kind of look over and be like, all right. And he'll kind of start wandering over. And now you can tell Zazie looks very uncomfortable.
Tell him what you told us.
And so he just goes, yeah, the captain told me to remove the hyperdrive and put it in the Genesis, but you cannot do that. I told the captain that you cannot just put it in the Genesis. You will simply just ruin the hyperdrive.
So our one way off the planet is trying to make us stranded.
Hey.
That was honestly additional. That was
Way to bring it all the way around.
on accident.
Can we check the infonet and see if there's any reason the captain wouldn't want to get off the planet?
I don't think there's a holonet.
Yeah, the holonet's it's gone.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll look at the sergeant and Zazio and say, "You know what we must do. He can no longer lead."
You kind of see the sergeant kind of perks up his shoulders a little bit and says, I don't know what's going on here. Obviously, there's a misunderstanding, but any insinuation of a mutiny, and you will go through us and the Soggy Bottom Boys before you pull that off.
But you
No,
agree,
the Soggy
though.
Bottom Boys. Yes, no,
But you-
good lot. No,
But you
no
agree.
worries there.
That removing the drive is bad, right, Zazie? That if we actually remove the drive, we are destroying it. Correct? That's what I heard. This is Forge just asking a question, not being intimidating, but I just want to make sure I understand. By you removing that drive, it actually destroys it. Correct?
There's no guarantees, but even someone as skilled as I to remove a hyperdrive in this environment with these tools, it's very unlikely that it will not suffer damage.
And let's say you were to remove it, it would not work for the Genesis because it's not the right size. Correct?
No. It would never work for the Genesis. That's impossible. Even if we could somehow get the Genesis in shape to fly, which is very unlikely, this drive would never work. No.
So going back to Sarge. So Sarge, you heard this. This does not make sense. And I've been with the captain for a long time too. This does not make sense to me why he would suggest this.
I mean, it seems that he's ignoring the counsel of his lead engineer. The captain is proficient in many things, but in the areas that he's not, he has specialists, and Zazie here is, well, quite the adept little being. If he says it'll break, I'm inclined to believe him. The captain would rather strand us here. This isn't sound. This isn't of sound mind. I haven't had a chance to properly examine him, but I'm worried that his time within the spider's clutches might have done more to affect his mind than we originally realized.
So the sergeant, he goes, I've been with the captain for 20 years. The captain is a good leader. He's a good man. There must be more to this. He goes, I tell you what, Zazie, he kind of looks over and he goes, disable the hyperdrive without causing any permanent damage. Leave it in the ship. And Zazie kind of nods to that. He goes, will that be sufficient?
Yes, again, we're not trying to take it for ourselves, and we understand the concerns of somebody else taking it, but again, one should not let that outweigh a potential way off this thing. You never know. Perhaps we find another ship that can hold the rest of the rest of us, and we need both ships to escape, and well, we would have grounded everyone else. We don't know what's there.
And if he's making decisions like this, what else? What may be next? I believe. Would you feel more comfortable if we brought Alavi in and got their opinion?
Yeah, go ahead and roll me one more persuasion here.
This,
Whoever wants to roll it.
Oh yeah, I'll pass it off to Orgus or Caspar. Whoever wants to go for that.
You're muted, our pale alcoholic friend.
That's okay. I don't think I've been contributing to the diplomacy anyway. I keep wanting to steal the ship rather than deception it, but
I would offer to assist you, but it seems like it would be pointless.
God,
We're not having the best of
see,
rolls today.
this is
Like double snake eyes. Hey, anybody want to burn some ISPO? I know I do.
Yeah.
And while you're at it, you might want to refresh the page for good measure.
I do.
You know what? I think I've got a I think I've got that human thing that lets me re-roll once, so I'm gonna do that again.
It's re-roll a d4.
Yeah, you can add to it.
Well, that's just useless in this scenario. I did too badly.
Well, it's blown up. I mean, we always forget about our inspo, so we might as well use it against some good.
We got 4 more left. Yep.
I have made a vow to only use my inspiration for really stupid stuff.
Well, here,
use
my inspiration then.
Fine. Fine.
There we go. You can still define it if you want to. Still define it.
No. 19.
19, yeah. So the sergeant kind of pauses. He goes, enough of this. He goes, the captain is the captain. He goes, but I will take Zazie. We'll go check the site. We'll disable the hard drive or the hyperdrive temporarily. He goes, and in the meantime, talk to Alavi, sort this out with the captain. But I can't have these conversations of mutiny against a dear friend.
My good sir, no one has said a word of mutiny with the exception of you. We are simply attempting to point out that he is not making good decisions, and that's merits recognition.
I agree, Caspar, but I think you're right. You, SB boy, Zazie, you'll be better placed in the facility. Hurry along.
We'll be back in 2 hours.
Take your time. So if they do leave, or once they do leave, Tavik will look to the rest of the group and say, we need to get Alavi on our side. But if he doesn't, I say we need a new chief.
As much as I hate the thought of it, I'm inclined to agree.
As long as we're not hurting anyone, I'm good.
No, that's the part that I'm worried about. A mutiny is usually not limited to just words.
We'll
Promise to only perform non-lethal murder. Good lord, people.
What? Wait.
So
humane
uptight.
If there was if there was ever a session for Burger to miss,
I know. I actually felt kind of bad. I was like, this is like the RP session.
yeah. I don't know if he'd have done better or worse, but I think we would have done differently. I'll tell you that.
Well, in honor of Burger, I would like to take the captain's corpse for his collection. Did I say corpse? I meant like a hair sample or a tooth. Something non-lethally murdered from him.
Well, where would Alavi be right now?
He'd probably be in his office. He's got like an office on the ship.
Well, shall we? Or unless somebody has another idea.
We've only
Not a
got
good
2
one.
hours left, so yes.
Okay. I guess knock knock if that's appropriate.
Yeah, so he sees you kind of come in, and he goes, you guys are back. He goes, yeah, come on in. What's wrong? How can I help?
Tavick closes the door behind them. We've got a delicate matter to discuss with you. Have you spoken to Zazie?
He goes, no, I know the captain asked him to do something with the ship. Not entirely sure. But no, I haven't had a chance to talk with Zazie.
Well,
He told him to disable the hyperdrive. And Zazie, it is with his knowledge, said that if he disabled the hyperdrive the way the captain told him to, it would most likely never work again.
He goes, that does not seem accurate. I mean, I'm sure Zazie is correct. I'm very confident in his technical skill sets, but why would the captain do that?
well, we were hoping you could clue us in because we've asked ourselves that very same query and we're coming up quite short.
No,
Spider
We noticed
sickness. I'm
and we
almost
noticed
certain
the-
it's spider sickness.
And we noticed the captain's been acting a lot more weird since he's come back from the spider incident, and is just not giving the usual commands that would benefit the crew.
Yes. Did the captain inform you of his ordeal with the spiders to the south?
Because I know that we lost a lot of men. I don't know
Yes.
the details of what happened.
Well, considering everything that's going on, I think it's important that you have a full context of what the captain's been through, and maybe, well, so, and then I guess Orgus will go into detail about the whole going down there and them being captured, cocooned, pretty much giving up. Essentially, at that point, I'm sure he gave up on life because that was it. Being rescued, and the gist of it. I'm not sure if there's any like specific details anybody else would like to add.
I think that's about covers it.
Yeah, right. That's a gist of the. So, Orgus will relay that information to Alavi.
He nods. He goes, it's a miracle that he's still alive, but that doesn't change the fact I've seen the captain stare death in the face. I don't think this would phase him.
Has the captain ever lost as much crew as he has in that? I know the casualties were high, but not entirely sure.
Just nods, and he goes, we've lost many.
Well, at the risk of sounding rash, we're concerned of the captain's state of mind, and perhaps that this last ordeal might have been just a bit too much.
She kind of nods. He goes, I share your concerns to some bit, but it's the captain. He'll bounce back. Give him a day or two. You'll see.
Well, you'll have to forgive me, but we are currently in a situation where a day or two is a very valuable currency.
Today he decided to destroy our only way off the planet. What may he do given more time?
He kind of cuts you off, and he goes, so you say. Is Zazie here to back up your claim? Is anyone else here that can confirm? I've known the captain for 20 years. I've known you for far less.
The ships have pretty good comms, right? Could we just call Zazie?
Yeah, you could probably just contact Zazie.
Okay. Well, if you'll trust Zazi's words more than our own, we'd ask you to confirm with him. Again, we're not trying to mislead you.
Let's
And he
call
goes,
Zazi and ask him to speak on the record on the loudspeaker. What his professional opinion of the captain's advice is. Let's see how that goes.
yeah, go ahead and give me a maybe another persuasion. Anyone can kind of roll it.
Oof.
Let's
just burn all of our inspo today.
And I'll lend a hand for that. Yeah, yummy advantage.
Oh my god. Okay.
Hey, there you go.
Nice.
He kind of pauses and he's like, I'll contact Zazie. I'll see what Zazie has to say. He goes, and he kind of pauses and he kind of thinks through. He goes, the captain has been off. I'll give you that, but I've known the captain for a very long time. But I'll contact Zazie, and you can kind of see for the first time he doesn't seem confident in kind of his stance.
Well, now, again, you'll forgive me for pressing forward, but assuming that Zazie corroborates our story, in which we're all very sure that he will, unless he decides to lie to you, what would you make of that situation then? Again, if he calls us a liar and comes back tells you to your face that we're liars, then we'll face those consequences. But we need to know where you stand, because frankly, we're all putting our lives in his hands. And if his hands are trembling with fear or something else, then we are in a great deal of peril.
And Forge will step in and say, the sergeant heard the whole thing. We brought him in on the conversation.
Yes.
So if you want to talk to two people to confirm, Zazie and the sergeant are in the same ship right now.
She kind of nods. He goes, if, and this is a big if, Zazie confirms the accusations that the captain has purposely tried to destroy the hyperdrive are one shot off this planet, then we will confront the captain to see what's wrong and take steps necessary to ensure the safety of the crew.
Well, thank you for your honesty in this. I know this puts you in a very difficult position, considering your relationship of 20 or so years with the captain, and us not coming anywhere close to that combined. So thank you for not just kicking us out the door.
Yeah, and you kind of see he regains his composure, and he goes, it's a big if. However, if those accusations come back false, then you will deal with the consequences. And he goes, did you go speak to the mayor yet at matters that are more pressing? And he kind of like emphasizes pressing.
Well, we wanted to get as far as we could with this before we left for town. But
kind of nods, and it is trust. I assure you, this is something I will take serious.
Yes.
Thank you for your time.
Yes, and
we trust you, and feel free to call us whenever you get the confirmation.
Mm-hmm. She kind of nods.
Also, if perhaps, granted, the captain may not. I know I'm a medical professional, but he does not really hold my opinion in high regard. If you maybe perhaps asked him to submit to a series of tests to see if there's any lingering effects from his ordeal in the forest, maybe it would have more weight coming from your lips as opposed to mine. I don't think ill of the captain. I am concerned.
Yeah, he'll just kind of nod.
Well, once again, thank you for your time, and we were off to let's go see a mayor. Well,
All right. So there's speeders available. You can easily kind of take one into the town if that's kind of the next course action there.
Yeah, I think so, because we give them time to speak with Zazie and
Yeah.
hopefully not double
So
cross us. Hopefully.
Well, and Forrest is like, we may not want to tell the mayor about the captain's mental state and or issues with the hyperdrive because that may cause a panic.
Oh yes.
Oh, we're not telling anybody about the hyperdrive. The mayor does
No.
not need to know that. Yeah.
No. It'd be funny. We come back. There's 4 nooses waiting for us.
Well, I don't know about you, but I can run quite quickly alone, and am very good at stealthing, so I think I'll be all right. Yeet!
Yeet indeed. Well,
Yeah, so you kind of go into town, and you'll see that there's kind of a little bit of bustling around. Definitely more activity, maybe than was last time. You kind of assume some of the farmers probably have tried to centralize to seek a little bit of safety. But yeah, you can easily kind of go in. The mayor's office is open, so you kind of head on in if that's what you want to do, or if there's something else in town you wanted to do first. You're more than welcome to do that.
Should I buy a slice of skip before we go?
Yeah, buy a slice of count.
Tavik, any chance you could throw me 40 credits? I do want to get my hand on a slicer's kit.
Kind of see him reach in, and he's got a pretty decent sack of credits. He's never buys much, and then he goes just stingily pulls out the 40 credits. And he goes, "Well, are you a life debt already? You just take it."
Well, it'll be for our benefit. I mean, well, maybe, but certainly not just my own.
Whatever you say.
Unless, assuming, of course, there is one for me to purchase somewhere in the town.
Yeah, you can probably find it fairly easily right on the strip there. There's people that have kind of been able to kind of salvage whatever they could find, and they're kind of hawking those goods. So you kind of find it in like a makeshift slicer's kit. That
same price as the PHP?
Yep.
Okay, then yes, a big whopping 0. Oh boy.
What was that one substance that we bought that could cure exhaustion? It was like a natural berry mixture from the planet, I think.
Yeah, it's an herb that they found on the planet that they sell. It turns kind of into a tea that they actually had found from the kind of the native inhabitants from I think the first session.
We need to bulk up on that.
Yeah, Tavik will look around for that and see if there's any available.
Jacali?
Yeah.
The Jacali root?
I think that's it, yeah.
Because I've got like 4 of them.
You do?
Yeah, I just put it on.
We've been mentioning exhaustion for how long?
Yeah.
We're buying more.
We got them in like the first marketplace.
I thought we used those.
I had 4.
No, we've just been dealing with our trauma rather than using the tools we have to heal it.
I'm a very intelligent doctor, but not a very perceptive doctor.
So now we know why the captain's so bad, because of our doctor not remembering stuff. Okay.
You know, it's funny because that whole time I was like, I'm pretty sure I gave them ways to deal with this. I just couldn't
really
remember,
thought
but I was
heard
like,
it all.
I gave them tools.
I put a little note in my character sheet to remind myself once we got back to civilization to buy more.
We have 4.
Well, how much more can we buy, or how much is available? How's that?
Yeah, I don't remember how much I sold those for in the first session. They're not like an item in the book. We'll just say here. Let me look up what med packs are. What something equivalent might be here.
Let's see if I can.
We were actually talking about this in the mod server. Let me see what the price we were thinking about came up.
The 300 med pack.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll give you a little bit of discount. We'll just say 200. I don't remember what I said now, but if it's lower, scarcity. So
'Cause I think we found some, and that's where I got them from. I could
Yeah.
be wrong.
I think that's where it was. I
Yeah,
think we
I
found
think
some in that one, that first cave we went into.
Yeah. With the,
yeah. So we'll say
transfer script.
200 a pop.
Well, we already have 4, so just
Yep. Well, Tab will buy 2 more, so we've got 1 for everybody and 1 extra.
Okay.
So that'd be 16 left.
Were there any other kind of medicinals that they have here that we wouldn't normally have found? We weren't on this planet outside of these roots.
Perhaps we could get some Adderall for the doctor.
I think he's got some.
You guys old supply.
it's in his blood. Well, naturally, no. Yeah. Well, he's very focused when he needs to be. So
Do a towels, get you some glitter stuff.
hey, party on.
But that's the only thing I wanted to buy. So unless you guys need anything else,
All
so I got
right.
some med packs.
Nice. Yeah. So you'll go in and see. So the mayor, Adol, Citra, and Athorian. You kind of met him once before, but as you come in, he kind of stands up and kind of opens his arm. He goes, "Yeah, come on in, come on in. How can I help you guys this afternoon?"
Oh, we
We're
came to
actually
see
here
how
to
we
help
can
you.
help you.
Jinx.
Yeah.
He goes, yes. The captain had mentioned some nonsense about us leaving our homes.
Well, it wasn't nonsense. What did the captain say exactly?
He said that there might be another site that might be more secure for this eclipse that's coming up. But I don't know. These people, these are their homes. This is where they're comfortable. Why would they leave?
Because they don't want to die.
And monsters are coming.
Yes. With we're under the impression that the extended amount of darkness will embolden the more aggressive creatures from the south, and or even the ones very underneath our feet. And well, yeah, I know you have a few dead farmers that can speak to their ability to hurt.
Nope, sorry about that. He goes, yes, we have lost some to these worms, but you are here now. You shall protect us. We cannot abandon our farms. We cannot abandon our crops. If we lose the harvest, then we will starve. He goes, is that a better alternative than risking the danger of the worms?
You have time to bring in your harvest and bring it with us to the facility. We suggest you do that because I won't protect you if you're foolish enough to not protect yourself.
And he goes, can you arrange this this transport of these goods? Can you ensure that my people will be safe and that we will be fed?
Well, we were under the impression that your harvest will be ready in the what 10 days? Is that correct?
That's what we have.
Yes, 10 days and we should be able to finish the harvest. Yes.
Okay. Well, the eclipse is not for another 16, and we are able to ferry a good amount of people over at once. So yes, but we would need to hurry as much as possible. That way we can maybe perhaps start moving non-essential personnel over and have them start working on living arrangements for the 2 days.
Just kind of nods and he goes, this isn't the first time that my people have been refugees. They say the monsters are coming, and so they put us in refugee camps, and they said, we will take you somewhere safe. And when we get there, we are starved and we are left. And now, finally, we have a home, we have land, We have food. And again, you come and say, the monsters are coming, and you want to move us to a refugee camp. He goes, I forgive my skepticism.
Well, this time it's temporary. From all that we've learned, the eclipse lasts for 2 days. After the 2 days is up, we can bring you back to your homes and help you repair.
Give me a persuasion on that one.
All right.
Can I lend him a hand?
We have two. We have two more inspirations.
Yeah, let's
I think, right?
go for this session.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. You guys earn them back pretty fast. So.
Yep.
We're having a good luck today.
A little better.
Yeah.
Define it. Define.
If I was human, I would.
Well, don't we have a human?
Yeah,
in the upper
Caspar,
corner?
I want-
I'm adding my D4. Good one.
There
Hey!
you go.
There's only
Nice.
1 in 4 chance of that.
So you can see he's kind of hesitant, but the defiant kind of pushes him over the edge. So how does that work? What do you kind of add?
So
I'll take good care of your daughter. Good care. She
so
will be cared for well. No matter what happens to you, she'll be in good hands.
And by daughter, he means your community of people. He'll take care of all of your people.
Did I say daughter? I meant community of people, and
Yes,
your wares and your things will be very safe. We'll be very safe. We'll be sure of it.
yes, it truly is the next generation is what's important here, and continuing our society and our civilization. He goes, I can see that you guys truly care. And we will gather our people. We will gather our harvest. If you can ensure our protection, if you can guarantee that we will be returned when it is safe, then I will do all I can to get everyone to go. He goes, but just so you are aware, I'm not an emperor. I'm not a king. I can ask them. I can suggest to them, but it's their decision.
While you may not be an emperor or king, your word does carry weight. There's a reason you're mayor, and it's not because they dislike you, right?
And it's not because you're a horse.
I am not a horse. I'm an authorian. He goes, but it is true. I was voted by my people. I would like to think that I have a favorable opinion from many.
Yes, at least the majority, right? With that in mind, and your endorsement of the plan, then I imagine any sort of outliers of resistance to leaving would be minuscule. Well, hopefully, at least.
Kind of nods, and he goes, "Oh, sorry. Go ahead."
I was going to say, if there's anything that we can do to perhaps help assuage those fears from many that would be hesitant to leave, then please tell us.
Or lift heavy things, which I'm really good at.
Yes, well, horses he can lift 4 very heavy things at once. He's quite adept.
And I
Yes,
can
yes,
quickly
that is.
deplete your alcohol supply.
He will make sure the load is lighter.
He goes, I do appreciate that. And he said, I have a question, though. He said, you can guarantee our safety and our transport. How is this so?
We have found a facility where there's shields that you can hide behind, as well as droids that eventually, with Zazie works' magic, that will protect you. The how you'll get there, that's a secret for us for now, but promise that we will make sure that you are there safely.
He just kind of nods. And he goes, You know, it's very interesting that we got left on this planet. He goes, there once was a theory that Oh, he goes, never mind. He goes, never mind, never mind, never mind. It's just nice that we're all on this planet and that we'll make a new home and build a new society. And life will go on without the Dewangwin.
What theory? Please.
Just nods and he goes, my people are very simple people. He says, but this mode of transportation that you have, it has me worried. You see that among our people that we think that the Wangwin actually keen in on whenever we enter hyperspace. That is how they find us. They feel the ripples through space itself. He goes, but who knows? Who knows? It's just a superstition that many of my followers believe.
Luckily, the facility we're going to is local, so you shouldn't have any problems.
And as it stands, there shouldn't be any ships, anything capable of hyperdrive speeds on this planet. So,
And truly, how silly an idea it is that some kind of animal could sense an energy source like a hyperdrive. Like it's just simply foolish to think that they could do that.
He goes, I agree, and luckily we don't have to
silly
worry about
religion.
it anyways.
either way, not a concern because there should not be any ships currently of anything like that on this planet.
And he goes, I appreciate I appreciate your candor and your conversations, and I appreciate all of the help. He goes, and rest assured, I will do all I can to ensure my people are ready to go.
Thank you. And if there's anything we can do to assist, well, you know where we are.
I appreciate it. And maybe I will need someone who can lift things.
Oh yeah!
Yes, and I will guide you as you carry.
There you go. A keen eye.
Well, thank you for your help, man. Really, we're just one calm away, but we must get back to the Genesis. There's work to be done.
It was, oh, yes, of course. I appreciate the time. And he kind of gets up and kind of starts to kind of walk everyone to the door. Kind of not necessarily usher you out, but, kind of move you along that direction.
Politely
I
ushers
make
them.
sure to overstay my welcome.
The Midwest goodbye, the knee slapping, and the...
Well,
And as Forrest walks out, he high fives him, picks up Caspar, and just walks out.
oh, it's time now. Okay.
Yes,
Goodbye, good
okay.
sir.
Well, at least we've got the mayor on board. Should we check back in with Avela?
Maybe here's to hoping it's not a firing squad waiting for us. Yes.
All right, so you guys gonna head on back?
Yeah.
I
I
think so.
think we did what we set out to do. We got the mayor on board. Yahoo.
Yeah, so as you guys return, it's probably late afternoon at this point. And you kind of see that the ship is back, so you kind of assume that Zazie and the Sergeant Savru are kind of have returned from their mission down to kind of scout the area. Yeah, and you can go in, and if you want at this point, you can either go talk to Savru or whoever you wanted. You go back to talk to Alavi or whatever you want to do
I
next.
think Olavi is where we got to go, right, guys?
I'm inclined to agree.
Yeah, and so as you kind of go in, Alavi will kind of usher you into the room, and as you come in, he'll say, "Close the door."
Tabitha will shut the door behind him.
He goes, "So I've confirmed your story. Zazie backed it up, along with the sergeant, that yes, in fact, the captain asked Zazie to destroy the hyperdrive.
Okay. Well, consider that big ifed.
You've known the
Kinda
captain
nods.
for years, right?
Decades.
Is
So
he a
does that
superstitious
decision-
man?
Because when you've seen what we've seen, it's hard to not be superstitious. Sometimes ghost stories just have a way of sticking with you after you've heard them long enough.
Well, considering your precious insight into the man and the way he thinks things through, is there any reason that he might have asked Zazie to destroy that hyperdrive?
Kind of nods. He goes, we'll have to ask him.
Okay. Are you prepared to do that?
He kind of just sighs and he goes, it's been a long day.
Okay. Well, I suppose he can't put all of us on the firing squad, right?
Because we need to be very careful and we need to be very clear-eyed about what comes next.
Okay.
Because the captain is a friend. There has to be an explanation for this. There has to be a reasoning. But I will admit that the hyperdrive in a ship that can get off this planet, that could find help, that could actually solve this problem, to willingly destroy that, take away that only option, that concerns me.
I think it's time that we gather Zazie as the sergeant and figure out the captain's reasons and determine our next steps from there.
He nods and he goes, in the morning. In the morning.
Let's go talk with Sergeant and Zazie anyway, because I want to hear the updates they got from their tour of the new location.
Okay. Well, first thing then, I'd suggest you sleep well, but I'm sure that you won't sleep as well as you can, I guess.
He just nods.
They're in charge of the security for the station, right? Or for the ship.
A lobby is, yeah.
Yeah, lobby. Well, make sure you put one of your people by the ship. Not someone that's loyal to the captain, someone that's loyal to you. Just in case he gets curious or worried at night and decides to take matters into his own hands.
Alavi just shakes his head and he goes, they're all loyal to the captain. These are all the captain's men. He says, but we'll figure it out in the morning. It won't come to that.
So I'd like to do an insight check because I know we're short on time and everybody keeps wanting to wait a day or two. And that just doesn't seem right for us because I'm like, it's kind of urgent.
Yeah, go ahead and roll me an insight.
So a 15, it's not a 20. So it's a 15.
Yeah. You can tell from his body language that this is very emotionally taxing, and you think he's being honest when he says he's just tired. Like he just probably doesn't have the energy for it right now.
Okay.
I suppose.
I understand you, bro.
Well.
Okay, let's go talk with Zazie and Sarge. Thanks for talk.
Yep. And so he'll just kind of nod his head and say, yeah, it was a great talk, and kind of dismiss you.
Okay, so as soon as we get far enough away from Ollie. I'm like I think we're gonna end up having to watch the ship. I hate to say it. You know, um, I think you're right, Tavik. I think the captain is gonna get the heebie-jeebies and decide to make a move.
Well, I don't sleep much as it is, so I can certainly do the bulk of the watching, but I don't know if I'd be physically capable of stopping the captain, so maybe one of you could slumber nearby and I can just poke you should he show up.
I guess I'll do it.
I'm with you. But do we want to go talk with Zazie and Sarge next?
Yes, wholeheartedly. Yes.
Yeah, so you kind of see Zazi's in kind of his workshop again, and you kind of see that he's got like a dozen robots now. It looks like he brought a good amount of them. He's kind of tinkering with them. He's kind of running around excitedly. You can see even a few of them are operational. It kind of looks like he's been able to reboot them and remove the kind of the AI that was previously controlling them.
Oh, good, because I was worried about that next. Because that would really be. So, Zazie, it looks like you found some new toys. Did you guys find anything else?
Yes, it was an amazing sight. He goes, unfortunately, someone, shot the AI. But outside of that, it was amazing find. Awesome. It was congratulations on it.
Considering the AI's opinion of organics, well, you're welcome, is what we're trying to say.
And he goes, yeah, it's no biggie. I did notice that the droids were controlled by the AI, but once I was able to remove that bit of code and reprogram them, it looks like they'll be just fine. Then he pulls out of his pocket one of the restraining bolts, and he goes, if not, I've got a dozen of these.
Nice job. Can we get 2 more? Can we just okay? Just say
well, I'm glad it was everything we promised.
So go ahead, Argus. You were about to say something.
Oh no, please continue.
I was going to say, well, so how did your conversation with Ollie go?
So he was kind of like running around like happily, and then once you mention that, he kind of stops. He goes, "Did you talk to Security Officer Alavi?"
Yes, we just came from there.
He goes, "Oh, yes. I discussed with him many of the things that we had talked about, and my feelings on the hyperdrive."
And have you talked to the captain since you got back?
No, I'm so busy with these droids. I'm so busy with these droids. I have to get these droids online.
Did you happen to notice anything else that we might have missed while we were down there?
And he goes, well, I was able to get the shields online. And I was able to get many of the droids back online, as you can see here. And he goes, I think it's a fine spot. I think it's a fine facility. I'm very curious at some of the weapons development. I'm very, very, very curious. I think maybe we can retrofit some of them, and who knows, given enough time, I think they were onto amazing advancements. I'm actually curious. Even pre-Republic, that these is well beyond anything that I have seen in the archives. And you can just see he's just going a mile a minute, obviously just kind of distracted or intentionally distracting himself.
Stay focused on your work. That could be a good discovery, and just keep to yourself tonight.
He goes, yes, good idea. I will be here. These droids, they must be online. You kind of see he just goes back to his task.
Okay. Well, that's Zazie, Alavi,
and that was normal behavior for Zazie. I just want to make sure.
No, that would be you would notice that.
Okay.
Yeah. Normally, normally Zazie's very confident in himself, and he's not very self-aware of maybe insults that he gives to others. And so now, like, he's intentionally just like avoiding you, and he seems kind of nervous.
Got it. I guess Sarge is next.
Yeah, so you can kind of see the sergeant. He's still at the ship. Him and the Soggy Bottom boys are kind of taking care of the ship.
Okay, well, I guess we'll swing by and just be like, hey, so I guess what'd you think?
He was
Went on
very
a 3-hour
impressive.
tour. You know, awesome.
He goes, very impressive. I looked around the perimeter. Looks very easy to secure. I think that it's going to be a nice site. I think we can keep these people safe.
That's good to hear.
We spoke with Alavi, but I'm sure you're aware of that. It seems that he'd like to confront the captain on his decision making come the morning.
Just sighs and he goes, I've known both Alavi and the captain for many years. Good men, good leaders. Because it's very unfortunate, but I'm still confident that it'll be okay. I'm still confident that there's just something that we missed.
Well, I sincerely hope that is the case. I guess.
Well, so Forge was going to bring up, since the Sarge appears to be a very rule-based person, just like kind of like Forge. I was like, so would you think that the captain would agree to a medical examination? I mean, isn't that part of the ship's, doctor's normal function in this kind of case after a traumatic event to have a truly full-body mental examination?
He nods and he goes, well, if Security Officer Alavi, second in command, deems it necessary for medical evaluation and he fails that medical evaluation, then command would pass over to Alavi temporarily until the captain was able to restore to his duties. And so, yes, he would submit to a medical examination.
I see. Well, I suppose we'll cross that bridge tomorrow morning then. By the way, the mayor is all gung-ho and ready to round up as many people as he can to head down to the site. We took care of that.
Great.
Right. Yes.
Great. Good work. It's very important that our first duty has to be to the refugees and to keeping them safe.
Yes. Well, cross that one off the list. I suppose we should find our bunks and prepare for the ordeal tomorrow, unless...
Yeah, nothing else big Tavik wants to do, but he and Gus can probably just find a good spot to scope out the ship just to keep watch on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you kind of see that, so the Soggy Bottom boys too, they kind of come out on regular patrols along with the sergeant, kind of making sure the ship stays safe. And yeah, so you guys can take another long rest, and that's probably where we will wrap this session up.
Nice.
Unless is there anything else?
No, I'm
for
just...
me, but I know Reclaimer would be mad if he missed a mutiny, so I'm glad he gets to come on board for that.
You know, if he was here, he probably would have caused it. Just saying,
Well, I guess we'll see next time.
Perfect. Well, thanks everybody for joining us. Any last words before we go, Keith?
No. I think I'm actually pretty excited to see what happens next session. So 2 weeks, and I don't know what day that is. 24th, I assume. Yeah, we'll see kind of how this plays out.
I'm sure it'll be nice and easy and peaceful, and everything will be okay, right?
Real good peaceful transition of power. You know, that's always how it goes. It's always when somebody's paranoid with PTSD.
Of course.
Perfect. Well, join us in 2 weeks for that. Come back next week for Invasion as well. Then definitely join us on January 26th for our Pathfinder game. And your chance to win a free PDF copy of the system. I don't have any of my friends online, so we're gonna just go right offline. So we'll see you guys next time.